Mayank, Bron. First, Bron, tremendous thank you from my side. You have pioneered. I see you as one of the pioneers of COSAL. You started on COSAL when everybody else was not doing it. So,
thank
huge
you.
thank you.
It's been a journey. Thank you.
It's been a journey. So take it away, Mayank, Bron.
Thank you, Amit. Hello, Bron.
Hi, Amit. Hi, Mayank.
Let me introduce you to our audience. So Bronwyn Hastings, Bron for short, is the GVP of Global Partners and Alliances at DocuSign. She spent nearly 30 years building some of the most consequential partner ecosystems in enterprise software at Google, SAP, Citrix, UiPath, and now DocuSign. She's helped customers and partners navigate the various changes that have happened in partnering. But now at DocuSign, she's helping DocuSign think about partnering differently as DocuSign positions to organize itself around intelligent agreement management layer in this age of AI era. Bronwyn is one of the most respected voices in the partnering world, and I'm personally genuinely thrilled that she's here. Please join me in welcoming Bronwyn. Bronwyn, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to the conversation today.
Bron, DocuSign is one of those rare companies where everybody knows what the DocuSign company does. But what DocuSign is now gearing up to do for the future looks very different from what we all assume, which is the owner of the signing document that forms a trusted space for agreements to be executed. You yourself have described this pivotal moment in DocuSign history as a platform moment. Could you help us understand what DocuSign looks like right now and why partners are so central to how you are helping DocuSign shape their future?
Thanks, Mayank. And you're right. Everyone knows us as pioneering e-signature. We're 20 years in the e-signature. We're synonymous with defining that moment of someone signing and sending a document and it's done. In fact, I have so many moments. I'll be in an Uber, in an elevator, in an airport, and someone says, I love DocuSign. But what they're really saying is they love e-signature and the simplicity of what that brought. And so I do need to spend a little bit of time going through where we are today so that you understand what we're doing with partnering and why some of these moments are so important. So if you think about it, we've got 1.8 million paying customers. And then last year alone, we saw 1.2 billion documents signed through DocuSign. So when I hear those numbers, I always sit back and go, wow. But what it comes with is an incredible volume of trust with customers. And that's the foundation that our customers and partners have built around, is that trust, secure environments with the e-signature. But we're now starting this transformation journey. And what we're doing is the enterprise have trusted us with their most sensitive agreements for almost 2 decades. Now we're using that trust to go deeper. And we're not just signing agreements anymore, we're managing the entire process and putting the intelligence inside that document to work. So we're calling that DocuSign's Intelligent Agreement Management, IAM for short. And it really poses this incredible opportunity for partners. Now imagine this, you've gone from e-signature and the opportunity is intelligent agreement management. Think about obligations in the agreements, think about the risk profiles in the agreement, think about triggers that are needed. And a lot of companies call that the dark data of information in enterprises. And they could never use it at scale until AI changed that equation. Now we're at that moment of capturing data that we can act on. So it does change what we need to do in our ecosystem, and I'll come to that in a second. But here's where it gets truly transformative. It's agentic AI, as we all know. So moving towards a world of autonomous workflows, agents making decisions and triggering actions, But every one of those agents at some point is going to touch an agreement. Whether it's written in any other application, at some stage, the process touches an agreement of some sort, whether it's templatized or legal or something else. So the question we're asking is who governs that moment, who provides the layer of that autonomous action when legal obligations are in play. And, we really think of this as the agreement layer of an agentic enterprise. So to sort of close off my comments here is, at DocuSign, we now platform is our strongest part of the ecosystem. Partners are the multiplier in that story. We know that the partners have to be the multiplier in that story. Agreements don't live in a vacuum. I was sitting here listening to all the comments before. They live in a context of either SAP or Salesforce or Microsoft or Coupa or Workday, or you can talk about all of our relationships where agreements touch and live. And living inside those very large models, whether it's also where people work, like Slack and Copilot, and the list goes on. So the agreement intelligent layer is a really important part of how we actually work. And because we've got 20 years of data around that, and we've got powerful, trusted AI and agentics around it, it really is the place that we now need to transform the value customers derive from that and the value that partners can participate in. So I just wanted to give you that background a little bit of why what I say next in context is so important about these co-sell and connected motions.
That's a fascinating transformation, right? It's about the aggregate, the accumulation, the corpus of agreements that need to be governed and managed. And in this context, as you create the space for partners to help you take that position at the customer, how do you think about engaging with different types of partners on this central new augmented positioning of DocuSign that DocuSign has taken?
Well, you heard earlier from Nina on, the Microsoft approach to Better Together was Ascend. And so we are one of the Ascend partners. So I'll spend a little minute maybe just showing how that comes together. But, Microsoft has consistently demonstrated a commitment to fostering an ecosystem where their partners can thrive and are also part of delivering the business to business direction. So where they focus strategically. And, one of the things when I was listening to Nina, she spoke about shared use cases, outcomes, transforming companies as a core element of what this phase of transforming with AI really means. And if you heard the story before that I used, we're doing exactly the same. So we do have to look at how do we do these things together. We do co-innovation with Microsoft, we do it with Salesforce, we do it with Workday, all the companies that I've mentioned, right? So one of the things that's so fundamental is, and I think Nina mentioned it as well, is we've got to remove friction and we've got to unlock this with simplicity. And a key component of that strategy has been to how do we really jumpstart? If you think about where we are in our transformational journey, how do you jumpstart that co-selling motion, where primarily what you're doing is to try and bring that joint value together transparently. And part of that is we were one of the first partners with Nina on WorkSpan as an example, as that starting point to really integrate WorkSpan into streamline our joint sales motions, increase visibility and shared pipelines. And ultimately, and this is the one thing I do add compared to what I've heard in our previous conversations, is to be able to deliver accretive value. If you think about 1.8 million customers, there's a large customer base there. But what we're trying to do is bring accretive value in this journey to our joint customers. So that's one chunk. For me, success of co-selling really relies on the fundamentals of, and I use this collaborative mindset. When we're engaging in these co-sell opportunities, it's absolutely essential to intentionally create and leave space for other partners to show their unique value. We've both got to be able to show our unique value, but why it's better together, and being able to demonstrate how that collective offering is the best solution for a customer to choose. So I'm very much focused on, we don't want to, and people that have heard me talk before, neither of us want to be interchangeable. When we are co-selling, the one thing we want to do is have an offering that make us undeniably the choice of value together. And so that's very pivotal to this. And then how do you make sure that that is made available? How do you make sure that it is getting to the sellers and the customers in a cohesive way? So for me, it is about moving beyond simply coexisting, but actually intentionally bringing value and then seamlessly structuring that so that we can answer customers' needs and pain points with value that is well managed, transparent, and brings it to the field as well as to the customer and I think that's the co-selling winning strategy.
That's so well put, Bron. Intentionally create space where the unique value of each shines through, so that then the together story becomes the undeniable choice of customer. What a clear way to say the principle of co-selling, where you recognize strengths of each partner. Now, as you think about in this day of age, as AI helps you bring these co-selling truths to life on each engagement, I know you came into this in this conversation with a very clean, clear framework. Could you share with the audience what your framework of how AI enables partnering?
Yeah, I really came in, and because we are newer in this journey, I really came into this with an AI agentic first mindset. So how do I make sure that as we take our program on this journey, as we take our partners on this journey, and as our field and customers experience us, how do we bring an AI first mindset to what we do? And so there's three areas I sort of focus on. This is the way I usually say it is always on AI. So not just using AI interactively when someone asks, but how do you make sure that AI is always on to support your partners? And it's a little bit of a different mindset. So for example, one of the things that we started with was, how do we make sure partners are ready to do what we're asking them to do in conjunction with this shift we're doing? So we implemented something called a DocuSign AI Sales Coach. And that coach, I'll give you a little bit of a description, that coach is there, obviously trained with our messages. But as we bring something out, it can do multiple things. It can help a partner test their ability to design the message. You can choose things like the tone of the customer or not. You can practice on a one-to-one basis with the agent that's supporting you and coaching you. And it gives you summaries of how well you did on certain things. What it also helps us with is tracking capability and competency the whole time. And it allows us to see, when someone says they're certified, but they may still be having problems, how do we improve the coach to actually do the job of being always on? They can do it at 12 o'clock at night if they wanted to, preparing for the next day. They don't have to wait for the next webinar. So this real AI first, always on mindset of supporting, a little bit like was said in the previous session, but always there to coach, help, and move the partner to where we would like them to be able to serve the customer best and to have their best reputation. The second way, when we look at integrating AI into the partnerships, we're looking for, I'd say, an AI experience. And so what we looked at here is when we integrate AI into our partnerships, it shouldn't just be an addition. And it's a little bit like, again, I heard in the previous session, it should be looked at with a magnifying glass. How can we we should never turn up as a customer unprepared. That's one thing. AI should never allow you to turn up at a customer unprepared. But the second thing is uncoordinated. AI gives us the ability to be able to be truly orchestrated and truly coordinated, and how we turn up as partners together. And so that's what I'm looking at. WorkSpan, which we just went live a week ago or so. That's what I'm looking for WorkSpan to bring to the table. It's a great example of where we can actually orchestrate and understand where we focused, what our joint value is, and have a really customer and partner-centric go-to-market model. And then the last point I would bring is improved performance. Now, all of those statistics that were used at the start, it's a set of statistics that we should always be monitoring for, in my opinion, my humble opinion. We know, and I will use the J. Bain comment in a little different context. We know that in any customer, any larger customer, there are at least 6 partners at play. So it's not about coordinating even one-to-one. What happens if we call it a triple play? What happens if there's 3 partners? We know the win rate's higher. We know the deal sizes are bigger. We know that the adoption is higher when we're orchestrating it from meeting the customer where they are. So this is really about how do we accelerate that sort of intelligence and make sure that both the partner experience and the customer experience together is what we would want it to be. And so we're only just really getting started, and there's just so much more that we can do as we move forward.
Yeah, Bron, the potential to have AI impact in this 3-dimensional framework that you set up is immense, right? It's always on. It can be watching for more value delivery moments. It's orchestrated and coordinating every engagement action, but ultimately in the service of delivering an improved performance, right? Improved business performance, improved outcomes for the customers.
Correct.
And I believe that AI also has a tremendous role to play in delivering on the accretive value where the engagement is uniquely designed for the partner's unique value, right? Because
Yes.
as at DocuSign, the way you engage with Microsoft as a cloud partner, for example, is different from the way you engage with your CRM partners like SAP or Salesforce or GSI partners like Deloitte. These are different partner types, but more importantly, they play different roles in that co-selling motion. Does AI have a role to help improve the accretive value that can be coordinated between you and your co-sell partner, as DocuSign seller engages with the partner seller at a customer site?
So I'm going to break it down in Mayank into 2 areas. We have a clear strategy, design the value for the customer and the reason someone chooses us together in an AI agentic world. So that's still the clear strategy. But it's not only about the integration of technology, which is what I also said. And I think Nina said a little bit of this before, but how do you activate the value at the customer? And this is where, AI can really be put into action. And then the second thing is, how do you remain transparent, bringing that joint value and joint relationship mindset across different personas? So it could be different personas in those use cases at the customer, could be different personas at the partner, could be different personas even in the field. So that's the challenge we're all facing, and I heard it described before. I would also say that, even although we all say that this is clear, execution is often fragmented. It's just a reality. You're bringing so many pieces of a puzzle together to try and make that picture. So the co-sell does look different for each partner, can vary by country, can vary by partner type that you're selling with. So sometimes I was smiling when Amit was describing the different models of ISV or solution selling versus managed service provider versus SI. Imagine putting all of those together then and trying to maintain that value. So for me, really, the partner managers have a big challenge. But this is where AI can and these orchestrated agentic moments that are really bringing these partnerships to life in your core CRM systems, in your, whether you've got territory planning, whether you've got things like Gong helping you identify partners, the orchestration of that in those flows is where an AI-enabled environment with that orchestrated trust is really important. And I do want to double down on the trust thing. We're a company that runs on trust. Trust is one of the fundamental things we've got to keep, both with our customers, our partnerships, and how we actually work even with our field. So that trusted layer. So for me, working with a WorkSpan powered environment allows us to expand our model. We started it actually in this instance with Microsoft, and we're expanding it to the rest of our relationships that we work with as well. And it is that principle of designed value for each partnership or designed value for each play, whether it's a triple play or a quadruple play or whatever you want to call it, taking out friction and taking out guesswork so that you know what that is. It's supposed to be seamless, repeatable execution with co-sell motion. So that's my sense of how AI in each of the product areas that we bring together, they've all got AI. How do we make them work that repeatable, seamless way? And WorkSpan's co-sell capability from being transparent, bi-directional into core systems and using the benefit of those integration points truly helps us create the trust through transparency.
And in many ways, Bron, the C-suite, the executive team is expecting the partnering teams to go through this transition.
Yes.
With leveraging AI to make them more productive, more relevant, more coordinated in the pursuit of the corporate objective, right? And so the pressure on the partner manager is quite high to, as you said, to manage their day-to-day and deliver to these outcomes. So in this moment, what would your advice be to your partnering teams? Right? How are you inspiring them to go through this moment of time?
I'm going to use a shocking statistic. I was recently at a customer and they said they had 800,000 agents. How do you manage that?
Yeah.
So what's most important for me and what I really talk to our teams about is understanding two or three things. One is when we have a look at AI, it does need to have some guardrails. You need to think of it in the context of process or personal productivity. And how do you create the guardrails so that the AI tools that you're using and the way that you bring something like intelligent agreement management to life is always in context? If you think about that and you start to think about what context is my AI working in, where is the intersect point of that context? And therefore, how do I bring value into it in that context? Then it starts to simplify the way that you work. I think Nina said it, she works on so many different ways of using AI. But when you're trying to bring it into productivity and is it personal? Is it process? Are you disrupting something that you can bring something new to? And so in my mind, that's what I also talk to my teams about is, one, you should never turn up unprepared for anything because AI can tell you a whole lot. But once you have that formed, how you operate within an AI context, how you make sure you keep that transparency going with shared plans, shared visibility, joint metrics around it is part of that process base where you want AI to be part of your agentic journey as an individual as well, and as how you work as well.
Fantastic and clear advice. Bron, we have a few minutes. Shall we take a few questions from the audience?
Yes, please.
Awesome. So Ryan Orman has a question. If you are advising a partner program starting from scratch, what are the first one or two co-selling motions you would prioritize to start building joint pipeline?
That's an open-ended question. So it really depends on your business. And what I would always say is, what is the role you're expecting partners to play? Is it that you're trying to co-sell for getting, and I'm talking about a SaaS world or a consumption world? Are you co-selling to get the booking to adoption? Or are you co-selling because you want to be able to attach the next phase of land and expand? So my view is it's always starting from what role is the partner playing, and then where do you start the life cycle journey with a partner. My personal preference is it actually doesn't matter whether it's resell or co-sell for implementation purposes. Always design it to start early, because your acceleration of value in a consumption world is always the piece of the puzzle that will catch you if you don't design it at the start. So for me, co-sell starts either motion. Make sure you're designing for how you get to the fastest time to value with your co-sell.
Fantastic. I think this was a fantastic conversation, Bron. Such clarity on multiple dimensions that you brought. If I was to summarize it in a couple of phrases that you used, look for a creative value, look to intentionally create space in a unique value that makes the partnership to be the undeniable choice of the end customer. And the three principles of agentic use: always on AI, orchestrated and coordinated, and in the service of an improved experience and improved performance. Fantastic, Bron. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. And if there's any questions that are on there that I can answer later, please feel free to reach out to me too.